Opinions expressed on this program or the products endorsed on this program are not necessarily those of KTLB Radio.
Good morning, Oklahoma City, and welcome to the Clara Luper Show. In a moment, your host, Sister Clara Luper.
Come on, Jesus. Come on, Jesus. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Father, I need.
Good morning, Oklahoma City. This is the Clara Luper Radio Show. Back from Florida, back from the 94th Annual NAACP Convention. This is Clara Luper. Today's show is being brought to you by Gates Barbershop, located at 2609 North Martin Luther King in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Mr. Gates would like to join in congratulating those people, 30,000 of them that attended the NAACP National Convention in Miami Beach, Florida. I would like to thank my good friend, my fellow student, Reverend Wilburn, and his beautiful wife, Gail, that carried on in such a way for me last week. I would like to thank you, and I would like to thank you, the radio audience, for the encouraging remarks that you have given to them. That's the way it is, because we are all in this together. Together, we are together again. And certainly we were together in Miami Beach, Florida. And I'm going to tell you about the 94th Annual NAACP Convention in Miami Beach, Florida. I know you want to know, but I'm going to tell you something else before I start. I'm going to tell you that Fifth Street Baptist Church lost to one of its strong members, Mrs. Alma Salters, that hit Fifth Street like a tornado, because that was a person that had supported Fifth Street in all of its effort, a strong member of the Fifth Street Baptist family, one of the co-heads of that calendar drive that went to the top during her administration. Alma Salters, a strong member of the Fifth Street Baptist Church. And we have received word that her funeral will be on Thursday at 10 o'clock at the Fifth Street Baptist Church. For further information, contact Roth Funeral Home here in Oklahoma City. Speaking of funerals, Zella Black Patterson, many of you remember her because she was at Langston for a long time. Well, her brother, William Black, died in Los Angeles, California, but his graveside service, his funeral was held in Los Angeles, but he would be buried here in Guthrie, Oklahoma on Monday at 10 o'clock at the Patterson. Wait, the name of that funeral home, the name of the cemetery is the Mount Pleasant Cemetery, and I'm not too sure, but I think that's correct. Robert Davis, the brother of the well-known attorney Don Davis, died. His funeral will be at 10 a.m. on Friday at the Temple Funeral Home in Oklahoma City. Now let's see, we also have a death of a well-known person in Sapulpa, Oklahoma, and I'm sure that Nancy Davis will call and give us that information. I wanted to tell you that before I told you all about the NAACP 34th Annual Convention. It was a convention that people will talk about for years to come. And you want to know, because you, the people of Oklahoma, helped to send representatives. You sent Ladia Jackson, Charles Shelton, Chanel Rogers, Ashley Peters, Ashley Stinson, Makisa Panda, Willis Sullivan, Bruce Roberts, Larry Jackson, Michelle Walters, Charles Shelton. You sent Coco Thomas, Angela Greenhower, Aaliyah Parker, Jayla Garrison, David Duplessis, Andre Carbon, Donovan Green, Howard, Shanice Taylor, Lachey Pennon, Tisha Pennon, Cherokee Pennon, and Ashley Pennon. Chaperoning these young people were Mrs. Eleanor, no, you sent Eleanor Zachary too. Chaperoning these young people were Mr. Burley Nero, Mr. Calvin Luper, Mrs. Marilyn Hildred, Mrs. Leola Ford, Mrs. Billy Greenhour, Mrs. Kim Zachary, Mrs. Janice Shelton, Mrs. Monica Stinson. Now, I want you to talk to all of these people. Let them tell you. And this morning, you will have the opportunity to hear from some of them. This is the Clara Luper Radio Show. Well, congratulations are in order because Oklahoma City brought the bacon home. Oklahoma City brought the bacon home on last week. Larry Jackson, a student at John Marshall High School, won the bronze. And the bronze meant that he was able to bring home $1,000 and a laptop computer. I'm looking for him to be here today. It's very difficult to win in AXO. For example, there were thousands of students that participated, and to give you an idea how it went, let me tell you that New York had 9 winners, Massachusetts had 1 winner, Tennessee had 2, Detroit had 4, Texas had 10 winners, Washington had 1, New Jersey had 4, Wisconsin had 3, Florida had 8, Georgia had 3, Ohio 2, California had 5, Connecticut 2, Illinois 3, South Carolina 2, West Virginia 1, New Mexico 2, Mississippi 1, and Oklahoma had 1. Now, isn't that wonderful? There was a group from Muskogee, but Oklahoma City brought back the bacon. $1,000, and I hope that Mr. Jackson will be here to tell you about his project. We won this time in the sciences. In the sciences. I'm so happy that we won in the sciences. It was quite an affair when you see thousands of young people participating in over 26 categories: math and science and physics and computer science, architecture, name it, and they were there. In music, in dance, in essays, name it, and they were there. But let's look briefly at the NAACP National Convention. This was a convention of conventions, and they came from all over America. They came. One, according to the newspaper in Miami, Florida, there were 30,000 people present. 30,000. But we had some serious problems. And I'm going to deal with the problems. Number one, anytime we have a president of the United States that would travel thousands of miles and go to Africa to meet with black leaders and refuse to meet with black leaders in his own country. Now, that's a tragedy. That's a disgrace. Now, let me tell you the significance of this. When George Bush was running for President of the United States, he came to the NAACP convention, stood there on the floor and told us that he was going to be a president for all of the people. And he was going to work with the black leadership. But that same Bush refused to attend the convention that next year, refused last year, and refused this year. But one thing about it, they had a vacant seat on the stage that was reserved for the President of the United States. And I don't think, according to the leaders of the NAACP, that the President Bush sent a message. Now, what kind of president is it that would go to Africa and meet with people black like me, blacker than blackberries, and wouldn't come down to Florida to talk with black leaders? Maybe there were some questions that the black leaders would have asked him. For example, President Bush, what is it that you have against affirmative action when the people that you have there, the Honorable Miss Rice, was a participant. She's there because of affirmative action. Mr. Bush, let's refresh your memory. You said it. I didn't say it. You say that you were going to be a president for all the people. But how can you be the president of black people when 30,000 representing 50 states was in Florida and you did not come? Not only that, ladies and gentlemen, his brother, who's the governor of Florida, ignored the NAACP leadership. Now, Mr. Bush, maybe we want to know is, what's the truth about the war in Iraq? What is the truth about it? And our theme was having your say, and we had our say. But there were some faithfuls that came, and the men that came, and that beautiful lady from Chicago told us what they would do if they were elected as president. Not only that, they put out a notice to us, and I hate to tell you this, but I hate to tell you this really, because we got such influential black people in politics and in government in Oklahoma, but we aren't having anybody to deal with the real issues of black people. For example, the prison conditions in America. Why is it that there are so many black people in prison that can't get out? Compare that with the number of whites that are walking the streets. Why? It must be a reason. Is the President of the United States concerned with the prisoners? And then in some states, they are refusing to allow those prisoners, or those inmates, those citizens, our children, who have served their term, they're refusing to let them vote, and that's certainly against the law of our land. Now let's read. They gave us a report on how our representatives in Oklahoma voted on issues that concern black people. They gave them grades. Frank Lucas, a F grade. Istock, a F grade. J.C. Watts, a F grade. Watkins, a F grade. And there were only one, Largent. Oh, he resigned, so I won't talk about him. Sullivan was just sworn in. I won't talk about him. But there was only one, and that was Brad Carson. I want you to write this name down. Brad Carson received a B. 82% of the time he voted in things that favored all of God's children, those that were black, those that were minorities. But Watkins, Watts, Istock, Lucas gave the NAACP, they voted against NAACP's position and received Fs. Okay, I'm giving you that information because nobody else is talking about it, and we're going to have to talk about it. We are back in Oklahoma City to have our say about what's going on. And it was embarrassing to us when we were asked about our governor's appointment of blacks. Now, Brad Henry received over 90% of the black votes, but the question is, how many blacks have Brad Henry appointed in positions? We're going to have to look at Brad Henry, the governor of the state of Oklahoma, because if we're going to grade him on what the information that we have now, those of you that told us about Brad Henry, and we couldn't turn from him. He was in every black church in this state of Oklahoma talking about what he was going to do when he became governor, and he showed us. But if you have information, what did the people nationally think about Brad Henry? Well, they say, well, you got a governor who sure won't commute anyone. You have a governor that's another killer. Oh, my gracious. It's embarrassing. Well, tell me something good about Brad Henry. You're from different states. Tell me something. The only thing I know about your governor is, you tell me, Clara, how many blacks have your governor appointed to key positions? This is Clara Luper. Hello? Hello?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Coco Thomas, your fantastic reporter. This past week, I had the opportunity to attend the 94th Annual NAACP National Convention in Miami, Florida, and I had such a good time. I had the chance to see the EXO competition, and I would like to congratulate our winner, Larry Jackson, who brought home the bronze medal. I learned so much from the speakers, but one thing I took from Judge Mathis, who was our youth speaker on Youth Night, was no matter what obstacles come your way, if there's something that you want bad enough, you'll get it. I had a great time, and I would like to thank everyone who helped send us. I would like to thank all of the advisors for coming and chaperoning us, and I would like to thank you, Miss Luper, for coming with us every year and putting up with us, even though you don't have to, but you do. Again, thank you to everyone. Now, don't forget, the NAACP Youth Council meetings are every Monday night at 7 o'clock, and I hope to see everyone out in Radio Land there. This is Coco Thomas, your fantastic reporter.
Thank you, Coco. I want to tell you something. Now, I want you to answer me. Are we going to sit down in Oklahoma, giving Brad Henry 90% of our vote, and remain silent while he's not appointing any blacks to key positions? Now, what we are going to do, we are going to take this sitting down. We're going to have our say. We're going to call for Brad Henry to come to our attention. We want him to come to the east side of Oklahoma City. We want to see him at Freedom Center. We want to see him at some black churches. We want him to tell us, or is he doing the same thing that Bush did to us, ignore us? This is Clara Luper. Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I wanted to say something about Brad Henry, and I just wanted to ask, how long was he in office before the black person was electrocuted that had been given pardon by the parole board? I don't think it was 3 weeks, or was it?
I'm not going to answer any questions about Brad Henry. But let's look at Brad Henry's record. Let's look at the record. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to have our say about Brad Henry. Now, maybe our elected officials that are out there don't have nothing to say, but he's such a nice governor. But the question is, how many blacks have he appointed in important positions? I'm not talking about sub-keyholes. Because when you go to a national convention and you see blacks representing their governors from all over this country, and then you say, well, does Oklahoma have any representatives here? The answer is Governor Brad Henry is not thinking about the NAACP convention. That's what Clara Luper said. And those of you that are Brad Henry fans, you tell them Clara Luper said it. But what we are going to do, we are going to show our strength as people. We are going to organize a crusade throughout the state of Oklahoma, and we are going to each city, and we're going to ask the question, what has Brad Henry, the governor of the state of Oklahoma, done for you? Now, we know what Bush did for us. Bush told us if we could jump in the lake as far as he's concerned. Now, it's funny how he can send our boys to fight a war, but he cannot. He did not even come to the NAACP convention. Now, that's really something. And we talked about it. We let him know that we didn't like it. And I don't know whether you all are happy with Brad's administration. How many blacks have been commuted? How many blacks have been commuted? I got some figures I'm going to tear off for you, because I know blacks that have been in the penitentiary for years, made good records, and they won't even look at their records. I would like to commend our pardon and parole board that wanted to save a person's life. And the governor said, kill him, kill him, kill him. This is Clara Luper. Oh, today we're going to have a time, because in the next few minutes, you will have the opportunity to meet some of the people that attended the NAACP convention, the 94th convention, and they will tell you, I better tell you that I'm the only person in the United States of America that have taken young people to conventions since 1957. The only one. And I'm very grateful to some of the young folks. I'm very grateful. But you can't win them all, Clara, but certainly I can try. And I have in the studio some very important people. I have Miss Popularity, Aaliyah Parker. Oh, what a beautiful young lady. Miss Popularity, selected at the Miss Black Oklahoma pageant. Now, what I want you to do, I want you to listen very carefully because we don't know what's going on. But we do know that Oklahoma had no representatives that voted in our favor. Now, we know that. All of these black politicians, oh, we know what's going on. We are friends of Brad Henry. We sure are friends of Brad Henry. But the question is whether Brad Henry is our friend. Well, we are going to call it to our attention. And I have with me that beautiful, talented Aaliyah Parker. Aaliyah, how are you today?
I'm fine, Miss Luper. How are you?
I am so happy to be back in Oklahoma City so I can tell my black friends and my white friends that we were the only state in the United States of America that had no representatives from our governor. Oh well, maybe the governor didn't know about the NAACP convention. I don't know. Maybe I'm just taking things for granted because you know I'm from Hoffman, Oklahoma, and in Hoffman we tell it like it is. You went to the NAACP convention. Tell me about the convention as you saw it.
The NAC convention was an experience that I believe every African American should experience and attend. It a lot of influential black African Americans were there and spoke on areas of life that need to be voiced among the youth. And I really enjoyed my experience.
Okay, now what impressed you most? Let's talk about the speakers. Which speaker impressed you most?
I would have to say Mr. Kiwase Mfume impressed me the most because he spoke out and wasn't afraid to speak up for himself regarding the government and the president not attending the NACP convention.
Okay, you were also saw and attended the AXO production. What did you think of it?
Oh, the AXO production was awesome. There were so many African American children that were there and that were talented and that just showed off their talent. They really didn't have to be there, but they wanted to be there to do something with their lives and to show off their talent. It was great.
All right, now as a young lady, and this is your first convention, were you surprised at the number of people that were involved?
Yes, I was surprised in the number of people that were involved and that really wanted to be there and were happy that they were there. Very positive.
Very positive.
Yes.
Would you advise other young people to become involved in the NACP?
Yes. The NACP is very important to African Americans or minorities, period. I really enjoyed AXO and the NAACP convention because there was so many positive African Americans that really enjoyed what they were doing and really wanted to be there.
Okay, I understand that you have one of the Clara Luper scholarships. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
And you'll be going where?
To Oklahoma City University.
Well, I'm very happy about that because your tuition, your books, and all of that will be paid. And I want to wish you good luck. Incidentally, when I look at you young people, I'm also looking at your parents. Who are your parents?
My mother is Kimberly Zachary, and my father is Mark Zachary. And I would like to give a special thanks to them.
Okay, you want to thank, that's right, you better give them some thanks because if it had not been for your parents, you would not have had the experiences that you had. What did you think about the Oklahoma delegation?
I thought that they were great, really organized and responsible, and it was just a really good experience. Everyone I believe that was on the trip with me and that I was around and really enjoyed themselves at the convention.
You're such a beautiful child.
Thank you.
You're so beautiful. I'm so glad you're mine. Thank you so very kindly, and thank you for being my guest this morning. This part of our program is brought to you by Allstate Insurance Company, located at 730 North Britain Road in Oklahoma City. Do I still have John Pettis on the telephone?
Yes.
Okay, that's one of the... John Pettis, how are you?
I'm pretty good, Miss Luper. How about yourself? And I just want to take the time out to thank those who helped the Oklahoma City Youth Council to attend the National NAACP convention. It was out of sight. And again, I just wanted to thank those who helped to send one child, helped to send two people to attend the convention. And it surely was a success. I flew in back from Miami, Florida on late last night, and the convention was something that I definitely enjoyed, and it was my first NAACP convention.
Well, that's commendable. Now, did you see the voting records of your Oklahoma United States representatives and
Yes,
senators?
I did. And as a matter of fact, I had a great opportunity to share that information with one of our congressmen last night. His took was actually on the plane that was coming back from Dallas, Texas. So I actually gave him the report card of the NAACP for it when it comes down to elected officials here in Oklahoma.
Well, what did he say?
He had no response.
And what did you say when he had no response?
I said Congressman Istook, watch out because the NAACP is getting ready to knock at your door.
We're going to knock at his door. We're going to have our say. You are out to the Capitol. Could you tell me some blacks that the governor of Oklahoma that was elected with a majority of black votes have done for black people?
Hmm.
Yes.
That's a huge question.
That's not a huge question. That's a simple question.
Governor Brad Henry
Yes.
did not send any staff members to attend.
Let's forgive him for that. But what has he done for black people in the state of Oklahoma as far as appointments?
Absolutely nothing.
Thank you so very kindly, and thank you for being my very distinguished guest today. Let's have our say. Governor Brad Henry, where are you? Are you among those ungrateful people? I read a story about somebody healing some lepers, and then but one come back to say thank you. But we are going to be on Governor Brad like white on rice. Oh my gracious. This is the Clara Luper radio show, and this portion of our show is being brought to you by Allstate Insurance Company's agent, Merlin Hildred. If you're looking for insurance, and I want to tell you something, you go out to Nichols Hills and you look at those beautiful homes and you say, oh, but you're making those homes beautiful because you are taking your insurance business to somebody who is not part of you. That's not only Merlin, but there are a lot of black insurance agents that would like to have your business, but you're so tied up with the slave mentality that you don't believe that black folks can take care of your insurance business. If you had seen what I've seen during this past week, if you have seen what I have seen, if you have felt the heartbeat of ex-offenders that wanted to vote and this government is not allowing them to vote, if you could see people struggling to stay in business, and then you would have to say, I'm going to help black business. Isn't it funny how we can go to Iraq and everywhere else and rebuild that and can't rebuild the black community? You know, we are blind, and I'm asking you, all of you distinguished black politicians, and nothing is as disgraceful as the Oklahoma City school system that's laying off all of the teachers, the coaches, and what have you. Where's the money? We're going to have to ask that question, and I'm going to call the Honorable Superintendent and ask him, Superintendent, what about cutting your salary? What about cutting the salaries of some of those staff people? And the teachers, just think about it. Here I am teaching school. I'm gone through college, and all they want is, you don't have a job anymore. Where's the money? And I think that the Oklahoma City Board of Education should publish where every tax dollar has gone. And I would like we have 2 representatives on the board. Why don't they tell us? I would like for Mrs. Parks, I would like for Mr. Clara to tell us. We need to know where is the money. And talking about cutting out football at Northwest Class, and that's a shame. That's a disgrace. Well, we're going to have our say, and we're going to have our say at the poll. Maybe we do better without a Board of Education. Maybe we don't need a superintendent. Maybe we don't need all those administrators. I don't know. But I know one thing, we need our teachers, and we cannot remain quiet. We're going to have our say. Well, this part of the program is sponsored by Clara Luper herself. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you come out here and say something. Give me a better story to tell. Tell me about a school system that would buy a lot of air conditioners for schools and then tear them down. Tell me about that. I need to know because I'm from Hoffman where we save everything, even crawdad tails. This is Clara Luper. Well, we have a bishop on the telephone, and I would like to hear from that bishop. Yes, Bishop.
Sister Clara Luper, this is Bishop Bobby from True Love Full Gospel Church.
Yes.
I'm listening to your program, and also I retired from General Motors. I'm a UAW worker, and the United Auto Workers are big behind NAACP.
They sure are big. Are you a member of the NAACP?
But anyway, I am shocked with the governor because we supported him heavily, and I'm glad to know this because we will. Whatever you want to do, we're going to get behind you.
Well, one thing about it,
whenever you want to protest, you let us know. I'm going to give you my number personally.
Okay, well, you can call in and give it to someone out here after you finish talking to me. But see, you people are powerful. You are in these big unions. You have helped to finance Brad Henry's campaign. And I know one thing. I know one thing about Brad Henry. I know that the people nationally, and it's embarrassing when you're sitting down with people from different states and they say, I'm here representing my state. Well, who's representing yours? Where's the governor? I don't know. But I know one thing, and I want to tell all people, we aren't married to the Democratic Party. They can no longer take us for granted. And we sure aren't married to the Republican Party. Black people can make a difference, and we are going to see to it that every black person is registered. I was talking to one of my students yesterday, and I said, you got a job to do. I want every one of you to join me in voters registration. We've got to register every black, whether that black is sick, whether that black has just turned 18. We got to do it.
Sister Luper, I'm also the president of the retirees out there. And whatever you want to do, if you want to go sit on the steps, I was there one time when you got on the last governor about the garbage workers. And I mean, you talked about him so bad, they got the holiday the next year.
Well, I'm not going to talk about the governor. I'm just saying that the governor is suffering from historic amnesia, and he needs to have a vitamin to remind him. And I'm talking about this Board of Education and this superintendent of schools. Who you think will sit up and let them cut out football in our our schools?
But anyway, I'll be getting back with you, okay?
Well, be sure and get back with me because I need your support and I need your brains because we're going to, the NAACP Youth Council this year will focus on voters registration and getting out to vote. We've got to do that.
All right. Well,
okay.
God bless and you keep up the good work.
Okay. And we're going to look after our prisoners. And they are prisoners. These are our children that's coming out of prison. And they told me in Florida that if that law had been different in Florida, we never would have had the president that we have now that was appointed by the Supreme Court.
God bless you. We love you.
This is Clara Luper. I have a parent here. I have a parent that went with us for the first time. And I've invited and insisted that she would come out here and give you her interpretation of what happened at the 94th annual NAACP convention. Mrs. Shelton, welcome.
Thank you, Miss Luper. How are you this morning?
I'm really feeling fine because I'm telling the people back at home that I've told you that a skunk is my favorite animal because you can smell a skunk. You know where he stands. But anytime people grin in your face, you give them your vote and they don't even give you any positions on the board. Well, you've been to the convention. What did you think?
Mrs. Luper, it was absolutely wonderful. Starting with AXO, it stands for the Afro Academic Cultural Technology Scientific Olympics, and that is exactly what it was. We had such a wonderful presentation with our children. We were so excited about Larry winning the bronze in physical electronics. Also, our other kids, they did spectacular. Even though they didn't bring home the different medals, I know that they were enriched by the mentorship, by the different expertise, the different socialization with different kids, realizing that not all the time can you be a winner, but being a winner a lot of times is just going and completing the task. It was just wonderful. I mean, it was organized. It was so special to the point that I think everyone should have an opportunity to go. It was amazing to see 5,000 black young adults doing everything from building robots to dancing to creative arts to oratory to essays to playwriting to drama, filmmaking, you name it, they did it. They had over 25 categories in which they had an opportunity to be a part of. And I think that Oklahoma City and the state of Oklahoma was represented very well. And I just want you to know that I appreciate you allowing me to go and having my child participate and the children participate. And I think it was a wonderful, wonderful experience, one that you could never forget. Even if you had amnesia, you would never forget it.
Not only did you attend meetings, but you also had the opportunity to attend our trade and industry show. What did you think about that?
That was awesome also. They had everyone from Ford Motor Company to Black Hair Designer Products to all the major manufacturers. It was one of the biggest trade shows that I think I had ever seen. And I've been to quite a few conventions. It was very well organized. It was very well put together in the sense they even had a black wax museum of the different blacks who had come up through the times, and it was also very, very inspirational. It was very well, as I said, organized and put together. It was wonderful.
Well, thank you. What did you think about the other advisors that went?
The advisors, they were astonished also. They were astonished at the way everything was laid out, the talent that was out there. It was just awesome. You was just amazed at how smart children were. You know how they call this the Generation X, where the X needs to stand for extraordinary, because they were just that. You were amazed to see some of those art that I would think that a grown man had done, where it may have been a 14 or 15-year-old. The advisors were good in the sense of being mentors, helping the children, everything from dress to helping with the robot. Whatever was needed, they were there to do, and I think that they were a big asset. It was just one good teamship event for the entire Oklahoma City chapter.
Would you be interested in attending another NACP convention?
Most definitely. You can already put me down on your list. I am going.
Well, thank you so very kindly. This portion of our program is being brought to you by Marilyn Hildred of Allstate Insurance Company and Gloria Matthews of Johnson Shardina's Daycare, a daycare center that continues to train our children. You have to start them at an early age and move up. Johnson Shardina's, located at 1643 Northeast 50th Street in Oklahoma City, 424-4656. And I have with me today another advisor that went to the NACP convention, Mrs. Kim Zachary. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Mrs. Luper.
What did you think of the NACP's 94th annual convention?
That convention was awesome. Have attended a lot of conventions and conferences, and I was just amazed at the expertise and the organization of the conference.
You are amazed?
Yes.
Okay, what was so amazing about it?
It was so excellent. It was massive. Everything just went together so perfectly. The children were excellent. They participated excellently. They performed. The parents were supportive of the children. I met a man from California who did not have a lot of money, but each year he takes his 5 children and they participate in AXO.
That's one difference between Oklahoma City and many of the other cities, where we beg people to send a lot of children, but most of the parents throughout this nation have to take their own children.
Yes.
But I don't know whether Oklahoma City realizes that, because sometimes I have a lot of trouble with parents that want to do things like they want to. And I think that's commendable. But then they would have to do just like other people, take their own children and be responsible. Oh, okay, let's look at it from an educational standpoint. What was it? What kind of educational experience did you have?
My educational experience, I was just amazed of the support and how there are so many talented children that are in the United States. And I know here in Oklahoma City we have a lot of children that can compete with these children from across the country. And as an educator myself, I believe that we need to get with the NAACP and inform our community where we can get more of our children from our community to participate in AXO and in the NAACP, because we definitely have children here in Oklahoma City that can compete and could possibly be winners in AXO.
Well, I sure would like to know where they are. We've gone to all of the schools in Oklahoma City, and we have been ignored by the schools. Now, I can't dress it up in any other way because Mrs. Ford and I went down to Classroom, which is a school of performing arts. Did we get any performers? Of course not. We went to Douglas, Northwest, John Marshall, and there was a teacher out of John Marshall by the name of Mrs. Wilson that always insisted her students participate, and it was one of her students that won that $1,000. Now, what do you think we need to do that we aren't doing?
Our community?
Yes.
Our community, we need to support the NAACP more, and our schools need to step up to the plate and have the children that are capable in participating in this activity to do so. Again, we have many children here in Oklahoma City that are competitive, that can compete against any child in the United States. But as parents and as educators, we need to inform these children of the opportunities, and we as parents and educators need to get our children to compete in AXO.
Well, how are you going to get them to compete? That's what I want to know. I know we have tried. We have sent letters to schools that have been thrown in the wastebasket. We have contacted the superintendents and the others, and we have gotten no response.
Well, as an educator here in Oklahoma City, as soon as I got back from the conference, I began to talk to my colleagues about the opportunities that my daughters received while attending the NAACP conference and also AXO. I then began to talk to various principals and inform them of what this conference was about. And a lot of the time, unless a person sees it for themselves and sees the opportunity, what is out there, they have no idea. This was a valuable trip for my children. It was educational, it was cultural, it was, again, a massive opportunity for my children. And now that I know as an educator, I plan to inform my colleagues, my church members, my friends, and my husband also, but I'm going to make sure that my children begin to prepare at an early age. My daughter that's in 8th grade, we're already brainstorming about things that we want to do to participate in AXO. This is an opportunity that our children, our black children in Oklahoma City need to be a part of. We as educators, we need to, I don't want to say push our children, but we need to encourage our children to participate in these opportunities. There were children across the country, and I've seen the children at class and here in Oklahoma City, and I've seen the children dance at Douglas and various things they've done at Douglas. We have children that are capable of bringing home not only the bronze, but bringing home the gold.
The proof of the pudding, Mrs. Zachary, will be in the eating of the pudding. You have told the people that what you saw, but how can you explain to educators, principals, and others that don't even participate in the NAACP, and the black principals and the black teachers are receiving the same amount of money for their work as white teachers because of the NAACP, living all over Oklahoma City and Oklahoma because of the NAACP, eating in restaurants, and you talked about dancing. The sororities and the fraternities are dancing in these hotels because of the NAACP, and yet you can't get them to support it. Yes? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, what do we do?
Again, we need to, the members of the NAACP need to continue to encourage our community and encourage our leaders to support the organization.
Okay, we're going to do that. We would like to encourage all of you educators, those of you that have your degrees from Oklahoma City University, Oklahoma University, OSU, Langston, and all that got them because of the NAACP, to come home to NAACP. I have here a young man that made more money this week than I can imagine. $1,000. Can you imagine? I know the girls are going to really fall in love with him now. This young man had a project in which he dealt with physics that deals with usable power. I don't know what that means and all of that. But anyway, in person, let's give it for Larry Jackson. Larry. Larry, I'm so happy to see you this morning.
Happy to be here, Mrs. Luper.
Tell me about your impression of the convention.
My impression on the NAACP convention was that I found it very intriguing. It was very interesting. Lots of people all across the United States. It was interesting to see lots of people across the United States joining in one state, one city, to acknowledge issues on the NAACP, voice opinions. It was fun. It was very, very intriguing.
All right, and now, how did you feel when you walked in? All you young people walking in, and when that announcer said Oklahoma, and you walked in, how did you feel?
It was very exhilarating. I was happy. I was elated.
You look good. You were wearing, what kind of suit was that you had on?
Gold woven suit.
You had on you looked good. Everybody just looking. Now, how did you feel when they called your name as a bronze winner?
I was shocked. I was just floored, dumbfounded.
Okay, now you won $1,000. That's correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You won a laptop computer, right?
Regular computer system, full computer system by Hewlett Packard Bell.
Oh, really?
Yes,
I didn't know
ma'am.
that. I didn't know it was by. Well, I know you got a lot of help on this trip. And I never shall forget it. Midnight, you and a certain young man was working on your project.
Yes, Calvin Luper. I'd like to thank him. Big shout out to Calvin Luper.
Okay, now tell us about your project.
Well, my project came about when I was sitting home one day, and I was getting ready to.
Yes.
I was thinking about my project.
Yes.
And one day I thought about it.
You saw what?
I saw different types of robots, such as one that was programmed to cut grass, another that was programmed to vacuum the floor. Thought about it. That was a good project. I thought that'd be a great project. So I made up my own project. I built a robot specifically for commercial cleaning and dusting. It's the name of it's Poseidon. Name of my robot was Poseidon. At first it was just
what?
It was just, at first I laughed. It was goofy. I felt it was kind of goofy until it did what it had to do. I mean,
Okay, what did it have to do? What did it have to do?
Perform dusting.
Okay, now I remember one night about midnight I saw you and Calvin coming in from a store. What was it? What were you all doing?
We came in from Walgreens. We wanted to change the wheels on the robot, so we went to Walgreens looking for some wheels. We found a beach toy and run that back, and we took it apart. And unfortunately, the axle wouldn't come off the wheel, so we were forced to use the same wheels we used that originally were built with the robot.
Okay, and you won, right?
Yes, ma'am, I won. I won spiritually, mentally, emotionally.
Oh, you won spiritually?
Mentally and emotionally.
And emotionally. And I must add financially. Financially. And you what grade are you in?
I'm currently going to be a senior this fall.
Are you going to participate in AXO next year?
Yes, ma'am.
In what category?
Physics, electronics, physics, energy, also biology.
Oh, you're going into 3 sciences.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now, were you tell the people about some of the other young people that were in the sciences? Yes.
It was very intriguing. As I walked in, entered the room where we had it, the exhibits they just blasted you. They were just godly. They were huge. I walked into my stand in my booth as I set up. I looked at other competitors, and it was stiff. It was pretty stiff.
Were you afraid?
No, not really. I was confident.
And I know we were complimented by the way you talked to the judges. And I would like to compliment you from that. But let me hear from Calvin. Calvin, this is that's your candidate.
It took you long enough to get to me. I've been sitting here on pins and needles because I am so excited, so happy to be back in Oklahoma City. We've traveled, we've spent a lot of miles together. We've had some good times, we've had some bad times, we had some hot times, some cold times, but we brought back the bacon. Merlin promised those of you in Oklahoma City who helped the NACP Youth Council to go to the national convention, she promised you, hopefully, to bring home the bacon. We brought home the bacon, not because of what the advisors did. I mean, we did had something to do with it. But we brought back the bacon because young people like Larry, young people that participated in the AXO project, they went down there with their own goals in mind. Some of them, no matter how many times we told them, no matter how many times they'd heard about it, the competition will be keen. The competition is going to be tough. These are people that instead of spending 2 hours a day on a project, they spend 6 and 7 hours a day. But thankfully, and with the help of a whole bunch of people, including our Lord and Savior, we were able to bring home the bronze. I'm extremely proud of Larry because he stuck with me. We had some trying times because, as you said, Mom, it was midnight. The display has to be up at 8 a.m. We still had a little wheel problem, but we were able to overcome that. We put on a show. The show counted. The project paid off. And the thrill, one of the best thrills that I've ever gotten, many AXO competitions I've been in, was to see Larry jump up out of his seat. Now, I'm not over there with the AXO participants, but I'm on the side where the regular people, I guess you call us, where we are. But I see Larry go up in there. I see Merlin go up in there. I thought about Mrs. Walker and her victory dance. But then he started walking down that aisle with a confidence on him. Then he started walking up the steps. I thought he was chewing gum. I was going to faint, but he wasn't chewing gum. It was, I don't know what he was chewing, but when he turned around, stood there on that podium, it was all worth the effort. So, Larry, I want to congratulate you, and I want to thank you for being, one, having a dream and working for that dream. Two, being receptive to ideas. Three, being willing to work for that idea to become a reality. But that's just part of it, Mom. A lot of other things I can talk about. I know I don't have much time. You know I like to talk to you, taking up all the time, talking to the parents who were there and who were proud of their young people that participated, talking to the advisors, other advisors who've been there, the young people that have gone down there. And hopefully, I know that we have, somewhere, Shanice Taylor, somewhere, Malika Ponda, somehow, some way, Coco and David Duplessis, that they saw something, that they were encouraged by something that would challenge them to be a part of this, the AXO competition. Good things happen when you work hard for good things. Now, it's easy to work hard and to do bad, but it's hard to work hard to do good. Larry, you done it, but you got another challenge coming up. I know John Marshall Bear's football team will be counting on you this year to do more than do some physics and some robotics, to have a robot out there dusting, but you're going to have to come up with some good things for the John Marshall football team. But, Mama, I have this call on the line.
Okay.
We're anxious to talk with us.
Okay.
So
Hello?
Good morning. Thank
Hello?
you.
Hello, Ms. Luper?
Yes.
I didn't want to talk to you on the air, do you remember the first black mayor of Georgia, of Atlanta, Georgia?
Yes.
I was wondering, I was down there, and I was wondering if you came to it. And I kept looking for your name to be called.
Honey, I just want to be on the team. And are you on my team? That's what I want to know.
Yes,
Okay, then we'll come aboard. All aboard for the Freedom Fiesta.
Freedom Fiesta coming up. Good
And
morning, caller. I got another caller. Mom.
Calvin, you better hurry up because I got to
better
tell
hurry
people
up.
about the
Good
Freedom
morning,
Fiesta.
caller. What's happening? How you doing? Thanks for calling.
Hello?
You, Mrs. Luper, and you that's in radio land.
How are you doing, Mrs. Hunter? Tell me quickly.
I want to tell you, I want to congratulate all the people who went to the Miami, Florida, to the National Convention, and especially the young man Jackson that won prize.
Larry Jackson.
That's
Mr.
won.
Larry
and,
Jackson.
It's amazing to
John
they
Marshall
think, well,
Bear.
he won, but nobody there. But that boy may have been in the competition with 10, 15, or maybe 20 more people. So it is a wonderful, wonderful thing, and I'm sorry that I could not go because that
But you sent your money, and that's what counts.
Is a wonderful program, and I want to congratulate you, and I want to thank you for taking the delegation to Miami, and I'm certainly happy that we came back with one award. Every once in a while, Oklahoma wins, and this time we brought back another winner.
Okay, well, thank you, Mrs. Hunter.
Right, Aaliyah, don't go yet. Mrs. Zachary, don't go yet.
But I want to tell you, don't forget to go to church Sunday, and if you don't have a church home, you may come to mine. First day of me. Bye now.
Bye.
That
You
was
boys,
good.
you get an
Fifth-
ad. Well,
yeah,
let me
Fifth
tell
Street
you,
Baptist
the
Church
Freedom
House.
Fiesta is coming up.
Coming up.
This is your test to see whose side you're on. Since 1958, we have celebrated the beginning of the sit-in movement. This year, it will be from August the 17th through the 23rd. Now, you want to know what you can do, and you can stop talking and come on and join us. On August the 17th, that's Doc Williams Day. Mrs. Bosie Walker is in charge. You can call her and tell her you want to be part of it. On Monday, Mrs. Rosetta Coleman, the Johnny Green's Day. On Tuesday, Cecil L. Williams Day. On Wednesday, the President's Day. Thursday, and I might have these days confused, the Sit-Inners Day.
You don't have it
Friday,
confused, Mom.
Lady Ruth Hunter's Day. And Saturday's Clara Luper's Day. Now, I'm pushing Clara Luper's Day because I have some outstanding people on my team this year. The Honorable Mrs. Shelton, Donovan Green Howard. I have the same group that I've had for years, Rodale Hornby, Burley and Nero. Oh, I have the people on my team. Now, what we do, there will be a parade that's headed by Burley and Nero. Show your support. There will be an open house at Freedom Center, and there will be the Clara Luper dinner. This dinner consists of the bronze, the silver, and the gold. The diamonds, silver, and gold.
Mom, let's tell them about that. next
Silver.
week.
No, I'm going to tell them now.
Tell them now,
And
but
those
you
of
better
you who
hurry.
want tickets, you better
Yeah,
get your
1.5 minutes
reservations.
go.
$25, $50, and $100. Don't give me a lot of talk. Give me some support because I'm on my way to one of my children getting married in Tulsa. And Miss Black
Central State.
Friendship from last year is getting married today at 2 o'clock, and I got to be at that wedding.
You got to be at that
In
wedding,
Tulsa,
Mom. But
the
you know one
Paradise
thing
Baptist Church.
one thing that happened when we got to Miami.
But tell it,
we got
Calvin.
the AXO book. We turned the pages on the AXO
And
book. Went
there
to
she
page
was.
24, and there, lo and behold, was one of our youth council members. But then on page 28 was our last year's silver winner. And I'm just saying, thank
Okay.
you, Oklahoma City.
Thank you,
for
Oklahoma
sending
City.
us winners. But Mom, I got to
I'm
sing
not
this
thank
out.
you. Calvin, sing happy birthday.
I was on the beach,
Sing
and I sung a little bit on the beach. Nobody would come around me, and then even my old time partner, my old time AXO.
Oh, you better start singing,
my
Calvin.
old time we
Sing
can't
out of
sing
your
this
heart,
kind
please.
I got to come on my heart, Mom, because I got revived.
Okay, well, sing, Calvin.
There on the beach at the Atlantic
Sing
Ocean,
happy birthday.
tapping on my toes and the nice warm
Okay,
water, nice
sing,
warm
Calvin.
sand. I gotta sing, Mom.
Sing,
'Cause
Calvin.
Angie, this goes out to you, Angie Greenhouse. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Angie. Happy birthday to you. And may you have many.
You sung out of your heart, Calvin. This is Clara Luper saying to you, wherever you are, ask your governor where he stands. Ask him what is he going to do about the inmates. Ask him about the job opportunities. And I don't want anybody coming to me telling me you love black folks. Okay, the slave owners love black folks. This is Clara Luper saying, if you don't like what I say, do something about
Freedom
it.
ain't free.
Bye-bye.
We'd like to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to the Clara Luper Show. Join Sister Clara Luper here each and every Saturday from 9 until 10 at your number one gospel station, KTLV. And until next Saturday, may God bless you.
And the views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were not necessarily those of AM Radio 1220 KTLV.
This is your key to living victoriously. AM 1220 KTLV, Midwest City, Oklahoma City, and streaming audio at www.ktlv1220.com.